Welcome to Beyond the Awards, a podcast from the British Wedding Film Festival. This is where we have honest conversations with filmmakers shaping wedding cinema, nominees, winners, and industry voices. I'm Joss.
And I'm Jeff, and as co-founders with Laura and Pete of the British Wedding Film Festival, we're excited to bring these conversations to you.
For this episode of Beyond the Awards, we're joined by Rob from Pretty in White. Based between London and Suffolk, Rob creates artistic, high-end wedding films that move away from traditional formats, focusing instead on energy, emotion, and strong visual identity.
His work was nominated for Best Cinematography and Best Use of Music at this year's British Wedding Film Festival, and also recognised for its innovative approach. Today we're talking about breaking away from the formula in wedding filmmaking, how music and visuals shape emotion, and what it means to create something that feels truly different. Rob, welcome.
Hello,
mate. How are you?
I'm good. So this is all
Hi,
very
Rob.
fancy, this setup.
Rob, nice to meet you. We haven't. I know you've met. Apparently, I was just chatting to Jeff. You guys have known each other for years.
Yeah.
He was trying to remember when that was.
Yeah, the wedding. Do you remember the wedding where you were
I do.
one of the photographers? Do you remember the name of the venue even? I don't even remember where
That was
it
Great
was.
Foster's.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
And oh God, like we're trying to think of names out of the blue, especially like really good friends of mine. There we go. Roger Brown is the photographer. Fucking, if I'd forgotten his name, I would have been like murdered in my sleep.
Yeah, I remember I kind of remember the film I made. I think it was to the music of the King's Speech, the piano. Ding, ding,
It was
ding,
quite a
ding, ding,
somber.
ding.
I think I saw that film and it was quite somber, wasn't it? I mean, it's just years ago.
Yeah.
20.
It was the music.
11 or something.
There's kind of a dip in the middle, and I kind of I killed all the sound for the confetti, and it's
Right.
if I watched it back now, I'd probably really hate it. But at the time, I loved it.
I don't know. Your work over the years, Jeff, has not actually changed in taste much. Obviously technology changes, style changes a bit, but I think you've maintained a kind of an impressive consistency in terms of your taste, and you haven't jumped into bandwagons and stuff. The main differences are, you can just tell the crushed blacks of the 5D2 is like an immediate thing.
Yeah.
And slider shots as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So what year was that you met? When was it?
About 2011, I think.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
2011. I thought you were going to say 20 years ago. I was like, fuck. 2011 is still a long time ago.
Yeah, it's 15 years, yeah.
Rob, it's nice to meet you. We haven't had the pleasure. I mean, it's one of those where I feel like I know everyone just based off of their work and kind of doing some research. So we haven't actually formally met, but I feel like I know already a lot about you. But it'd be an opportunity to kind of discuss that a bit more. So thank you for joining us on the pod.
Hey, my pleasure. I expected,
welcome,
I'm a bit disappointed by the lack of accent. I was expecting the whole thick French Inspector Clouseau thing.
Just put it on.
Still very adapted.
Something just reminded me, and I just wanted to tell the viewers and Joss about your style on social media. So it's almost like a James Blunt style of tweeting. Do you remember when James Blunt got, he just hit the news because his social media style was just so ridiculously dry and really, really funny. Well, Rob's got the same kind of style. It's one of them when you see in kind of like these wedding video Facebook groups, there'll be a very, very serious thread. And then as soon as I see Rob's name come up, I just know there's got to be just something just thrown in there with sort of hardly any relevance and a lot of sarcasm. So yeah, it's good. It's good. People should look out for you.
I have no comeback to that. I will say that things are a bit different now than in the heyday of me spending 90% of my time not working, but messing around on Facebook. I do think Facebook's changed a lot in terms of what we're shown on our feed. It used to be I'd see what you guys were talking about. It would be like a chat that I was directly involved with, jump in again. It was all like a really good feedback loop of community, right? And now it's just I'm just getting right wing rage bait, and I'm getting every single thing from the White House and Donald Trump and the friends of Donald Trump. It's like, what is going on with my feed? This is not like our community in terms of the Facebook aspect of it has just kind of evaporated it's just because the algorithm has been so aggressive in getting us to think about other things and not like our friends, which is such a shame. And you can't really fix it.
The groups have disappeared, haven't they? Everyone just left Facebook, basically.
Yeah.
So I think if they're anything like me, they've probably woken up to Instagram and thought, shit, I better get on Instagram. So this takes up all your time.
Sorry, Insta what? Let me take notes.
Look, Rob, before we begin, though, we get into the nitty-gritty, we like to ask all of our guests for 2 truths and 1 lie. Okay. And then throughout the pod, Jeff and I will kind of, play detectives, but then we'll get the reveal at the very end.
VidFlow helps wedding and event filmmakers deliver their films in a premium Netflix-style experience that feels as cinematic as the work itself. Instead of juggling different platforms, download links, and USB sticks, VidFlow brings everything together into one beautifully branded platform.
And the best part, your couples can watch their films directly on their TV using the dedicated TV app from VidFlow. No HDMI cable, no USB sticks. Just open the app and press play.
If you want your delivery experience to feel just as premium as the films you create, visit VidFlow.
So take it away, Rob.
Okay. Nothing to do with filming, by the way.
That's
good.
So, number 1, in about the mid-80s, so I was born in 1972, end of 1972, so mid-80s, I was about 12 years old. Went to stay with a friend who lives in Scotland. I'm in England. So got on a flight, went to stay, he has a farm and all that. I think it was the end of one school period or whatever. So probably summer holidays. So I wasn't a very nice 12-year-old particularly. They had a farm, they had guns, and I pilfered a whole load of bullets from their 22 caliber rifle bullets. I pilfered a lot of those and kind of forgot about them until having to get on a plane to come home. And they were on my person, and I was looking at the metal detector, thinking, I have no idea what they do with armed, 12-year-olds carrying a load of bullets, which they've stolen off their friend. And the metal detector did not go off, and I got on the plane and I went home, and that's the end of that story.
That is very convincing.
I successfully took a load of bullets on the plane. That's one.
You should have just kept it at that, because that would have been intriguing. That would have been like, what? Just that statement. I successfully smuggled bullets onto a plane.
Oh, do you want me to keep them shorter then? So it's harder, isn't it? Like I could just say it's a weird kind of competition, the 2 truths, 1 lie. I could just say, got out of bed on my left today. Like, who cares? So I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to play the game fairly.
Okay. Are they all like really intriguing stories like that? Like, do them all then. Do them all.
I've tried to do them kind of chronologically, right?
Okay.
So we're going to move to the 90s next.
This is about 2002, I think.
Okay.
So I used to have loads of domain names in the .com era. I was buying up loads. I had like 300 at one time, and one of them was msgames.com. With the intention that maybe Microsoft would, would fancy it, So in about 2002, I did get an anonymous request to purchase msgames.com for $1,500. And I was like, okay, there's only one entity who would be interested in this domain name, and they can definitely afford more than $1,500. So I hired on a no win, no fee basis. I got in touch with an IP lawyer in California, got him on my case. And I chatted with him, and he said that basically there's a threshold for how much it's worth. Like if it is Microsoft, they'll go to a certain level, and then if you ask for more, they go to their lawyers, right? Because they'll get the name. So he said about $12,000 is the limit. So $12,000 is what we went for. I got $12,000, and he got 4,000 of that, and they never used their name. That's it.
Amazing.
Bought them my name and never use it. Okay, number 3.
I got out of bed on the left-hand side.
I did. Damn it. Okay, I'm just going to rewrite number 3. Okay. So I was chatting to a CEO of a video games company one time, and I was talking about like when I was growing up, I had like ZX Spectrum. I don't know what you had in France. If you had similar things like Commodore 64s and ZX Spectrum was kind of my era of like, games machines at home, home computers. So I was chatting to this person about my favorite game, which was called The Great Escape. A completely unlicensed version of The Great Escape, but you had to get out of Colditz or whatever it was. And it was a great little adventure game. And I said that when I was a kid, that was amazing. Yeah. And a few weeks after that, I learned that on the basis of that conversation, that CEO had then gone to MGM, licensed the Great Escape name, and they made a PS2 game. Like months after that conversation, simply based on me saying The Great Escape was a great property and they should maybe look at licensing it. So that was a PS2 game exists because of me.
Unbelievable.
You're too good at lying.
They're all believable stories.
Or they're all lies.
Because we get the full story, it's like, it's not just a fact, that there's a whole background to it, So,
there we
interesting.
Go.
That's worrying. Are you a married man, Rob?
I'm not. Maybe that's the reason behind deeply untrustworthy.
Oh, they're great. They're so different. They've all been different, haven't they? The style of these 2 Truths and a Lie, but that one, this is intriguing.
Right.
It's like I don't have anything. Usually, I've got a bit of an inkling about one of them, but I don't have anything.
Okay.
Anyway, take us back, Rob, to around about when I met you. Were you actually a videographer as well at the time, or just a photographer?
No. I think I had an interest in it. I've always loved films, and I guess photographers are the same way. It's why so many photographers go to video. We all like movies. We all have a visual kind of like sense in our head. Then I was fairly new to photography, I think. But yeah, I was maybe had an inkling that that's what I wanted to do, and I was certainly paying attention. There's 2 people that I remember from that era when I was just a photographer, and generally I was second shooting for either Roger or another person during a couple of those years. It was you, and I met Ben Marlowe at Greg Foster's as well.
God, yeah. Wonder what he's doing nowadays.
I think I've kept a little bit of an eye on it. I think he's got a bar now, and he's also doing documentaries and weddings. He's kind of like Mr. Fingers and Pies.
Oh, nice.
Dude. But yeah, that was like, he was, as you'd expect from Ben, he was a life of the party on the day. Didn't really seem to be taking the whole video thing very seriously at the time. He was just like saying outrageous stories about what he'd done with bridesmaids and stuff in his history.
I heard
as a videographer.
He had the biggest thing I remember about him is he had a non-rushing policy during a shoot. So he'd never run.
That?
He'd never rush.
Oh.
He'd never. It's like it's that kind of laid-back attitude of, well, if I miss it, I miss it. He'll just like walk slowly to wherever.
I wish I could adopt that same thing.
That's pretty much the opposite of my policy. I'm like, even if I'm an hour early, I'm rushing and running, like stressed. So he'll probably live a lot longer than me.
What's the most stressful part of the day for you that you're glad when it's over?
It's the bit, if I'm solo shooting, it's the bit where I've got to hang around for the first look with the dad when I know people are arriving at the ceremony and I'm missing all of that. That is the bit. What about you?
I tell brides, I'm like, the ceremony is really important. So you said the look with your dad's really important. If you want that to happen, and often I'm just like, guys, are you cool with, you've got the photographer there, and I get out of that if I know it's going to compromise because for me the most stressful part is the setup for the ceremony, and I have. If I have any nightmares, it's always the recurring dream of not being ready when the bride walks down the aisle.
Yeah,
and so for me, that is. And
I still get them, even when I kind of semi-retired after COVID, and I still had them, even though I wasn't shooting. I still had those nightmares. It's so weird.
And
do you have the same nightmares, Joss?
I mean, I do. I do see what you mean, but I feel like perhaps I'm very efficient. So before I can set up for ceremony in 5 minutes. Like I don't, even though I'll feel the stress, I feel like that'll spur me on to just get on with it quickly. And I found actually when I have time to set up for the ceremony, I mess about trying to find, maybe this camera can go here, maybe this. Yeah. Oh yeah, but what about an 85mm here and and I'm like, I can't make a decision because I like everything. Whereas if I have 5 minutes, I'm like, this is what I'm playing with.
So you don't have stress streams. You don't have stress streams at all. Oh my God!
Not about weddings. About my kids, maybe. Not about weddings. Sorry, Rob, we interrupted. Do keep going.
So there's an era in the kind of like 2010 to 2015 where if you were the remotest bit competent as a videographer, you get work. So when I started offering that, like I was never big on marketing. I was always just like find me, if you build it, they will come and all that nonsense. And because I wasn't aggressive, I don't know what the big social media trends were back then. It was probably just mostly website based in kind of when I started. But I could just see how saturated the photography market was even back then. It's obviously got way worse now. But video was just wide open. So I would offer both and just I would get video and video and video. And it's like, okay, I guess I'm a videographer now, like with vastly different workloads, in post. So yeah, I mean, I was always intrigued by video. And I kind of feel that it's logically as a challenge, I would have gone into it anyway, even if not weddings, just maybe personal projects. So, and I think photographers kind of gravitate towards it as well, just because it is still visual. It's the same skill sets you maybe have mastered and then just add a few more on, and then you realize how many other skill sets you need. But yeah, I think it's a logical progression for a lot of people, and especially now, right? Like where clients are saying we want everything, and if you can do everything, and you're like a couple or a single person, whatever, who can do both, you will get more work.
Do you do both still as a hybrid shooter, or no, just video?
No, okay. I remember the last time I tried to do both. I was running quite a big wedding, and I hired my team, and it was just like people dropped out at the last minute, so I was trying to run photo and video teams on a big wedding, and I remember like videoing, and I was trying to do. I had a bit of video, and I was in like vertical mode. This was back when you shouldn't be doing vertical mode, just because I've been doing photo and then video, and I was like looking back at the footage, thinking,
ahead of your time.
Yeah, it was so stressful, and just the bigger the team. I mean, as we all know, there's kind of this balance, right, between, a bigger team is more capable and you can get more work, but it costs you more and you need to provide the work for your team. So it's why a lot of us I had to shrink my team just because I couldn't guarantee a certain amount of weddings per year because it's so unpredictable. And I can survive on, not that many weddings, but I can't have someone else, beholden to an income, which is unpredictable like that. So,
yeah.
Were you always known as Pretty in White? I'm always obsessed with, if the business name is not like filmmaker film, like Jeff Wood film. Well, yours is not Jeff Wood film. But were you always known as Pretty in White, and why did you choose that?
In some ways, I regret it. I mean, it's quite a clever name, in the sense that Pretty in Pink, Pretty in White. There we go. It's a pun. I regret it for the fact that it's not particularly on brand now. I'm not trying to do pretty romantic necessarily films. I'm trying to do more like, the ball to the wall energy kind of vibe. So I don't think it's particularly accurate. And also it's a bit exclusionary now with, a white dress, like, well, maybe there isn't a white dress, not just the style of the dress, but the gender as well. It implies a kind of like a traditional male-female wedding. And yeah, so I think like it is what it is.
If it makes you feel any better, everyone that's come on here has said the same thing, that they regret their name.
Right.
I think we all regret our names eventually.
I think I do too. No one can say my business name.
Well, Yeah, well,
exactly, Jeff. Exactly. No one can say.
Proving your point. So, Rob, I read on this bump here that you went to art school.
I did, yeah.
So what kind of a course was that? And do you think that's affected? Do you think you've carried something forward from that in a way that I think from your entries into the festival, they're definitely different. They're very imaginative. So
thank you.
Yeah, I guess I've just answered your question for you. Sorry.
Yeah. Do you want to ask and answer all the rest of the questions? It makes it so much easier for me. I'm just going to get a coffee and let you crack on. Yeah, I think it eventually had an impact. I think at the beginning, and with photography as well. So, I remember my first wedding doing it on the video side, and I was with Roger Brown, same guy that we work with. And it was at a time where I was just trying to get in, like I'd done some photography elsewhere and I was just trying to get into weddings. And so I contacted a bunch of people saying, look, can I just come along for free and just, try out weddings? And so Roger was one who said, yeah, cool. And I did a trial video with him when he was on the photo side. And I just remember that feeling of just having the camera in my hand that first time and like, what now? Like there was no sense of control or intent. And so all that art school, light, composition, whatever, it just goes out the window and it's just like, okay, it's all super busy, bride prep, you've got a camera in your hand and you're doing kind of like pans and things like sweeps with just don't know what the fuck I'm doing. It's just moving the camera all the time. And then the edit would be like, dissolve from swishy camera to dissolve. So certainly initially it was that panic of any training just goes out the window and you're like, you've just got this live situation where it's like the spotlight's on you. What are you going to do? But I think once you kind of get through the rigmarole of having to clock up a few hours on the job, enough, hundreds of hours on the job to not be panicking about what to do, then you can start to kind of relax a bit and skill sets, I think eventually after maybe a couple of years start to come into it more. But now it does affect, grading a bit. I see loads of people who haven't been to art school who do fantastic grades, or they just grab them off online and it looks amazing. It's not such a unique skill set anymore, I think, grading, but, now just being able to use Photoshop from that side of it, and those kind of tools it's quite useful, I would say. So compositing is kind of left. So I did an illustration course, which is, as opposed to a fine art course. So I did 3 years at, University of Westminster, learning to draw and paint, for an industry which is not really alive right now, particularly illustration.
Yeah, your style is very I don't know how to describe it. This is very moody because you were talking about pretty and white. That's what I thought about it. Because your style, is different visually to what the name is. It's very artistic, and I'm thinking specifically about the entry that was shortlisted in 2 categories. So you were shortlisted in cinematography and best use of music for Till Death and Beyond, which is this like Halloween kind of vampire themed.
Yeah, not my typical wedding.
Everyone, opposite end of the spectrum to Pretty in White, isn't it? Death and Beyond.
Yeah. Like there's not a white thing like for the whole day, I don't think.
Everyone's wearing black at that point. The bride has fake vampire teeth.
I love that. Was that moment in prep when they're putting on the fangs, and you're just like, yes, this is like something different, and that's kind of why I love that fit or working on that wedding. Also, I started in photography, taking photographs of cosplayers at conventions. Right, so people who dress up as different characters. I went to a convention. I saw the insane talent of people making their own costumes and different characters, whatever. And and they would wear them, and then they would kind of like fall apart by the end of the day, and then never to be seen again. So I thought it'd be cool to do a book. So I did a book, 2 books actually, called Cosplay Fever, where me and a mate, we went around these conventions all around the country and took pictures of people in costume. And it was a nice kind of like document of these costumes while they were still like, on them. And the couple from that film are cosplayers who were in my books. So I've done a few weddings for people I photographed in costume, like back in the day, and they're always like really cool weddings because they are unique and probably quite geeky and just like very different and fun, and not the sort of typical more conservative weddings that I do a lot of as well.
Congratulations on your 2 nominations, by the way.
Thank you, mate. I was quite shocked. Quite surprised.
And I've got a bone to pick with you because you're sadly lacking on the evening, and it would have been nice to have a catch up.
Oh, mate,
beer.
It would have been amazing. Yeah, it's kind of geography and workload were kind of against me on that. So the next one, when you do one in London, I'm so looking forward to it. When you bring it all down south.
We'll try. It's still up in the air, really, but we did like that venue. It was a very, very nice venue.
It looked amazing. So, I would have been, so chuffed to see everyone.
On that subject,
it looked like it was a good show, and the awards themselves were amazing. The products,
one of
fantastic. So good.
Joss has treated us to our own very own awards that we don't actually have to win anything to get.
Oh, nice.
So I get one just for being a founder and a judge.
Nice.
So thank you, Joss. You're too kind, mate. But they're so chunky.
Does the top pop off and like some?
It doesn't. Doesn't.
There's a lipstick inside.
Giant lipstick.
It's just for show, Rob. It's just for show.
Amazing.
So, are you aware of the magnitude of being nominated? Do you realise that how close you were to winning in both categories? Because you were very, very close.
Oh well, that's good to hear. I did not know that. I mean, like, it's awards are tricky, right? Like, because you have to step out of your bubble a little bit. So, you crack on, you do your work, you like your work, your clients like your work, whatever. And that's kind of the benchmark is how you feel you're doing. And then when you're having to put your work against someone else, and especially like, not just in the UK, as well as some of the Wild Strawberry and this incredible work. It's quite intimidating. And the other thing, which is really difficult, I find, is, and I'm sure you've had this conversation, it's choosing the categories, because I tried to do a good job in all the categories, and it's kind of not for me to say which one is working on a particular film. So choosing the categories, I found that really tricky. And I think one of mine was moved from one category to another.
Because you entered into the innovation as well, didn't you?
Yeah, because I thought I was using a lot of AI and stuff, techniques, but then I wasn't using FPV drones or anything, so it wasn't a hardware like innovation. It was just in the style of editing, really. I find that difficult, is being like self-aware enough to be able to identify what you might be doing better in different areas. I don't know if
I guess that's why you made the entry fee so low. Because there's so many categories, and like you say, it's difficult to pick one. So we put it at a price point where you can just enter it into all of them if you want.
It was really humbling to see that, like, the other, because you don't know, like, it's a new thing as well. So I didn't know like how many people would enter, and I think a lot of people did. And to seeing the talent that was up there was, it was really humbling to be kind of like on the same page as some of these guys. That's kind of like a typical bullshit Oscars thing. It's like, it was just to be mentioned.
No, I mean, it's everyone said the same thing. Everyone, no one realizes how good they are, especially the good people. They're full of self-doubt, and that's what drives them to be good, in my opinion. Anyway, on that subject, do you think awards like this are good for creativity and good for the industry as a whole?
I think specifically, I don't think all awards necessarily, but I think specifically an award which is judged by people who know what they're talking about is, whether it's direct industry peers or adjacent industry, whether it was, it could be, other artists or whatever, but the people judging your work, they are qualified to judge it, as opposed to, those other awards which you have to get votes and things or whatever, or so I think when it's a really pure kind of award where you are just being judged by the, people who know what they're doing, I think that is helpful. And from a personal development point of view, seeing what else is out there, and it's a good opportunity just to showcase work and to remind yourself that wedding films can be extraordinary. And like seeing some of the work there, I was just like, oh my God, like I've been maybe treading water too much. I've got, up my game and remind myself that, it is a blank slate and you can do anything. There are no rules. And often I think we just kind of slip into previous formulas and ways of working, which have worked before. Why not carry on,
Yeah. I think,
I was just going to say on the judging, the judging process was very fair and there was a lot of integrity. And when we met as founders before launch, we were trying to think of a way to maybe anonymize films, so that basically we would watch each film like there's no brand, there's no company logo, whatever. But then I'm like, for filmmakers
hard
like you, Rob, I feel like we'd know instantly that it's you because your style is so distinctive. You start with the black and white, you kind of then blend in the color, that kind of thing. It's like visually your style is actually so established and it's so it would be obvious to us. So you're one of the people where we kind of started thinking it just wouldn't work anyway, because some stars are just like, oh, that's Rob from Pretty in White. You don't even need the logo. I mean, it's like smelling like someone's aftershave. I don't know if you're like, maybe that's a bit weird what I'm going to say, but like, I'm really good with aftershave. Right. And if I smell someone on the street, I'm like, oh, that reminds me of X or Y. It'd be the same with you. I don't need to know the name. I smell it. Well, and with your work, I can see it.
It's good to know. French. Yes. I can't necessarily relate to the identifying people based on their aftershave, but I appreciate the sentiment. I think, for me as well, I kind of integrate to a certain extent titles and logo into it a bit. So like the way my films end or start, I feel like if that was stripped away, it would kind of lose a bit. Titles, I mean, I don't use them as much as you could, but the way some titles appear in films is amazing. And it can be, I'm thinking of a TV show called The OA, and they had a title sequence which appeared after like 45 minutes. And it was just such a great dramatic time to say what you were watching. And it was just like, it was really part of the narrative, the title. Or, One Battle After Another. I thought the way they kind of like, the titles appeared, like sort of bullets on the screen. I thought that kind of...
Severance is my favourite title sequence.
So I haven't watched that. I think I tried for 5 minutes, and I need to get back into it. It's on my list.
Right. Yeah, it's a bit avant-garde in its approach and in its style and in its story. So I'm surprised you didn't like it.
I mean, I need to sort myself out, clearly.
Yeah, on the subject of like anonymous entries, I know that it's not practical, but that still excites me. Just in the fact of, the purest kind of like, even taking titles away. Some people just rely on titles too much and just say, hey, it's good because it's, it's good because it's him. I'd love to see it completely naked of everything and just say, right, let's just watch the actual film. There's something exciting about that. But,
I mean, it would be difficult practically. Practically, it would be difficult because you'd have to it might not be at the beginning or the end. It might be like I put my titles in a particular logo at a certain place in the film, and it might be halfway through or whatever. So,
it'd mean an edit, especially for the competition, and that that's I think that's asking a bit too much. I think of busy filmmakers. So, one for
on the topic
maybe?
of on the topic of styles, your style is very distinctive, as I said. How long have you kind of been doing this style, Rob? When did you land on this?
So, for me, there's definitely like a pre and post COVID situation with like attitude to weddings and films, I think. And it was just when you're denied it for a while, that kind of, you can kind of look at it a bit more objectively, maybe look back at what weddings are all about. And I was doing, before COVID, I was doing a lot more, probably filming in a similar style, but I was doing a lot more, kind of slower romantic stuff. And I hit peak slow-mo at one point as well. Like I started out being quite documentarian and I kind of looking back, I prefer maybe period, like not necessarily the most recent. Like my order of preference of my films isn't linear. Like sometimes before I hit the slow-mo kind of funk, they were a lot more raw and real. So, but I think post-COVID, I pretty much, I went too hard the other way. I abandoned all slow-mo and it was all kind of like high energy, quite brutal edits, a little bit too kind of just party edits. And now I think I've settled on something which is, it can kind of lean, it can go in the direction that the couple kind of want it to go, because I have an eye on, obviously I know the couple fairly well, I think, by the time I started editing the wedding, so I get a feel for how romantic they are, how funny they are, how quirky, and so I kind of try to lean into that a little bit. It's not just about me. It's not just like a showcase for work, I don't think, personally. I do try to incorporate their kind of personality as much as I can, as well as my own style. So yeah, I would say post-COVID is when I kind of started using like film, like just on a superficial level, I started using film convert and film grain and more the black and white stuff. Yeah, you love a bit
of grain.
Yeah, it's really rubbish for social media. I don't know if you've noticed that, but when you post something on Instagram, it just kills the quality. It just sees all these dots as noise and it just blitzes it. So for Facebook and for Instagram, I have to take it off, I think now. Otherwise the quality is destroyed. Which is a shame. But yeah, so I bookend it generally with black and white just because I like to I want to grab attention early on, and often that means party footage. It's raw energy on the screen. So if there's a way, if something cool happens in a kind of party setting and I can put that at the beginning, black and white suits it because, black and white footage and people dancing is quite it makes a lot of sense because it evokes like a paparazzi feel and like vintage stuff. We've all seen like, whether it's Elvis films or, it's like people dancing in black and white is a thing, which your brain recognizes as congruent. Whereas if it's black and white, people, on their phones or giving speeches in a modern setting, it's less kind of, I think your brain doesn't really accept it as much. It's like, why is this black and white? But for the party stuff, maybe the footage is a bit messy and the colors are probably all over the place. That kind of just getting to the heart of it, which is people moving and energy and having fun. Black and white, I think, works well, which is why I often start with it.
I like a bit of black and white. I don't implement black and white in my films, but I like the idea of doing it. And I think you do yours very cleverly. And I watched a few of your films, and one of them in London, Claridge's, you start with a party. And I tell you what, I didn't even realize when you started, there's a point, but I don't know when, you've then started moving from the black and white look to the colored look. And I was like, because the blend, I guess, or the way you've done it and the way you've constructed those, that sequence, I didn't even realize that it switched from black and white. After a few days, I was like,
that might have been a fade to black. Now. I might have just done the fade to black and then it came up when it was color. I guess what I'm saying is I didn't realize. Yeah. I knew at the beginning it was black and white because it's like your style, but then throughout I was like, oh, it's color now. But I realized not at the moment you switch to color. It would be later on in the sequence that I realized that, oh, it's now in color. Yeah.
Because it wasn't jarring, I guess. I mean that positively. It wasn't like now it's moved to color.
Thanks.
It's almost like I had to tell myself, oh, hang on a minute. Yeah, nice color. Yeah.
So that
it's weird you should say that.
Yeah.
Because I'm working on a reel at the minute where I hardly ever use black and white, and the dancing shots I put into black and white with loads of grain, and I showed Jane, my partner, and I said, "What do you think of the black and white stuff?" And she went, "What black and white stuff?" She didn't notice it at all, and I thought, "Oh well, that's a win." Obviously it's working if you don't notice it, most special effects. Like same with slow motion. If you watch something and there is slow motion, but you don't notice it, you just feel it, then that's worked. If you notice that it's in slow motion, then it doesn't work for me. Anyway, sorry, going off on all.
My brain has very short retention span, so I don't think I was going to carry on sort of saying anything else after that. I think, just that film, the Claridge's one. I think if it's Millie and Sam, so they have quite a big party thing at the beginning. I don't even remember like the black and white versus color thing in that particular edit. I just remember. So the big thing for me was that it's the thing that we know we've done that the client will never know. They'll remember thinking, it was really cool, that intro that we did when it was all the shouting and everyone was screaming. It's like, that's all bullshit. That never happened, right? I got a bit of audio clip and mixed it with some cheering and I mixed it with this other stuff. So it made it look like everyone was cheering before they came out and this soundtrack was ongoing. It would be like probably just a really dry, hey everyone, could you please get onto the dance floor now? We're going to have the entry. And it was just, but then if you put that with cheering and you know what I mean? You can make this event seem, and then no one knows. The client thinks, it was a really good wedding.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
It was, that particular idea was kind of influenced by the movie The Blues Brothers. So there's a scene where they are like jeering up the audience. I think it's quite near the end of the film. And it's just, there's a lot of talking with shouting before the music comes on. And that just as a kid, I loved that film. And that just really resonated, that kind of like jeering up audience, cheering and music starting and then audience and the act comes on. I mean, it's not an original idea, but it kind of, I remember that working really well. And, so that was, it took ages to manufacture that entrance, which never happened like that at all.
I love the fact that something that's moved you as a kid is like it's still using it now,
And you have false memories of it as well, though, because I had this memories of that as a kid, and I think I looked back afterwards to see how exactly did they do it, and did they do it, and it was nothing like I remember. It was actually, do you know what I mean? I couldn't really have used. I was influenced more by the memory than by the reality of how they did it. It can be quite challenging to emulate films because you're not working with the same tools. You can't do obviously you don't have the same actors and script and lighting and everything. And if you have too much of a precious idea in your mind, or even trying to repeat a shot from a previous wedding that worked really well and trying to repeat that, it can just be agony of like, why isn't this working? I'm sure I've got the same stuff going on, but it's not happening.
So, have you ever had to, you have got a distinctive style, and have you ever had to compromise that for a client?
Not after the event, really. It's more that I'm aware that they aren't like that, so I do this instead.
Right.
If it's a more traditional, I mean, especially if there's not much going on in the wedding, we know some weddings are it's just a few people and it's it's not much of a DJ. There's no band. No band is much harder to do for me. It's just because it's I love like cutting to instruments and all that kind of energy in it. And just someone like pressing buttons, like in the DJ booth, unless they really are animated DJs, it's kind of not the same thing. So like I vary it according to the client proactively rather than, but I mean, I suppose you attract the clients that, the work attracts a certain sort of clients anyway. So it's not that often that I get people who are completely the opposite of what I'm doing. But I have obviously, like way back in history, I have done unfortunate things with edits which have been corrected.
You've got to tell us now, Rob.
It's so there's one where there was a lot of banter between the groom and the best man in the speeches and everything. I think it was way well before COVID. It was probably about 2017 or 2018. And I was pretty burnt out at the time. You just look for any kind of like, no matter if it's going to take you way longer to do this edit, you're just leaning into something which was new. So I decided, I thought this was a really good idea. I thought I'd do, I'd put together a lot of the kind of when they're getting dressed and they're kind of half naked, the groom and the best man, I'd use kind of like porn music. And I'd have all them kind of saying how much they love each other and suggestion. There was a guy cleaning his car early on. He was kind of rubbing it like this. And so I have that. And so I'll make this kind of homoerotic montage at the beginning. That'll be funny and then we start the film, right? Easy. And I thought low risk because I'll do this. They'll love it because it's hilarious. And then we start the film. And I got a call saying they didn't love it. But it's like, why would they, man? They're quite a traditional couple. It was funny, but it's their wedding film, and we've just got 2 minutes of the groom and best man getting
I love
on.
That you did that. I love that you did that because some clients would have loved it. So how do you know until you try? Yeah, you got to take risks. You've got to take risks.
Yeah, I think that was my attitude. It was kind of like. I think the film was of the contracted length. If I just snip that away, if I just take that off, I've still got their film and it works, right? So that was kind of my attitude. But it was an uncomfortable conversation with just like, and totally not. It wasn't just they didn't like it. It was like, I don't want to do an impression of the couple, but it was. It wasn't a good reaction. That's all I'm saying. Yeah,
love it. I put.
That's funny.
I did a title sequence. I did the Succession title sequence.
Oh, wow.
Because this family were just so rich and so similar, like in their style. I'm not saying they were like horrible characters like they are in Succession, but. They were just the vibes I was getting, and it was in the old War Office in London, and it was super posh. And I was putting together this title sequence, and I realised it's kind of looking a bit like the Succession title sequence. I thought, let's just try that music, and when something just works, I'm just like, that's it. But the planner like tried to stop me. They said they won't like that. No, that's taking the piss. They won't like that. So I did 2 versions and put them both on Mediazilla. And I'm glad to say. Am I repeating myself? I've already told this story, haven't I? In one of the other pods.
You might have mentioned this on another pod. Yeah,
shit! I'm getting bored.
Not too wrong.
The clients liked the Succession one. They got the joke. So that was that happy day. So you got to take the risks, definitely.
Yeah.
And that sounds ace. That sounds like the kind of thing that, Wild Strawberry would do. And I think, God, how, where did they get that idea from? So I'm glad that, you're doing that kind of thing as well. That's brilliant.
Well, that probably, that negative reaction to it probably stunted my creative growth for the next 5 years. So,
Well, that was literally going to be one of my questions, which is like, where do you see your style going next? Like what is next? Because, it's a question I've been asking all the guests on the podcast. It's related to the festival, really, which is there's been a lot of different films and we all took different inspiration from it.
Yeah.
That I think to a lot of filmmakers means they'll kind of tweak elements of their workflow or the way they shoot or the way they edit. Where do you kind of see your creative voice being? Is it going to change at all?
I think definitely it's a good reminder. This festival particularly, and I think it is impactful and does make a difference. And I hope you keep on with it for many years because I do think just also we're in a sea of content of AI and terrible. Just like finding nuggets, you need some curation. So the fact that you are curating the nuggets for people to see, we can go to this competition and see, some films and get inspired rather than just trawling through Instagram and getting increasingly depressed by everything we see. I think it will, rather than like specific stylistic influences, I think it's a good reminder that there are no rules and to kind of find your own kind of vibe. So hopefully my films are quite in tune with my taste now, and I think that's the goal. Is you just got to do stuff which you would want to receive, and not is just like good enough to be, to charge an amount of money for the client, but is aligned with your, because you do this long enough, and the creative side of it, if it's not there, if you're not satisfied at all creatively, you're just dying. Like, why? It's really hard to do it without the kind of satisfaction of knowing that you're in tune with your creative energy, I think. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy with my work, but I do need reminding that it's not a full stop. The evolution doesn't stop just because you're sort of arrived at a place which you're quite happy with, and you've got to kind of keep on pushing. And I do think, I don't know about you guys, but I don't like to watch a lot of wedding films because I don't want to get too many ideas. It's a dilemma, which is why you're kind of in a bubble. I think once early on, I was watching Ray Roman and Jeff and Real Vision and all these people. I was in 2010, 2012, and I was just immersed with all that. And then you become quite derivative early on. And then you have a violent reaction to all things wedding, except for what you're doing. And you kind of want to just look at movies and music videos and other art forms to kind of inspire you. But then you can kind of be in too much of a bubble. So it's hard to kind of find that balance between being aware of the possibilities of the medium, which takes some humility in thinking, hey, maybe you haven't got the ultimate style and all the answers, and maybe other people can teach you how to grow, in this industry, and then not just doing the thing that they doing, like the Wild Strawberry, their title stuff going on. That's really cool. Where it's like, I'm not going to do that. That's their thing. But it's a clue that you haven't reached the end of the evolution.
Yeah. On that subject, do you think it's a good thing that we made it open to the entire world? To get a bigger kind of like cast the net wider to find these, to curate like these nuggets.
I think it makes.
Or do you think it'd be better to make it just British based?
I mean, maybe have more. Maybe give more of a chance to the British filmmakers by. I mean, you've got one specifically British, and you've got two specifically British awards, right? You've got the kind of one which sums up the country the most, and you got Best British Filmmaker. I think just two in terms of specific. Yeah. So maybe having a couple more of those would be good in terms of fostering interest and talent, homegrown, because I do think that's important. And if it was to become a worldwide thing, and you had like 80% worldwide entries and 20% British entries, I think you'd lose the connection with the homegrown audience, maybe.
I think I'd agree with you. I think the sweet spot is somewhere, and I think you've pretty much nailed where it should be. Because
being introduced,
representative of the British market.
Yeah, and also we can become quite insular in terms of the style can become. If you look at too many people in your area, you can kind of become a little bit the same, and just having these wild stars from Europe and beyond is I think really important to kind of just to remind you that it's not just drone shots and gimbal shots of empty chairs and all that kind of stuff, which and funeral music as well.
I don't use a gimbal, so I don't feel attacked. That's fine. I'm okay with that for you.
I use a gimbal.
Use funeral music.
Yeah, I use the funeral music, just not the gimbal. Okay.
I mean, it's it's like anything which is new becomes overused. I guess the drone shots were overused, slow-mo was overused, gimbal was overused. There are still some people, I think, who are on the gimbal literally all day, which I don't know. It's not for me. You haven't got enough control, I don't think, over the composition for me for that. But yeah, I was thinking of saying my Be Steady purchase. Do you remember Be Steady as one of my?
I do.
Spent 3,000 fucking quid on this gimbal, right? And it was so complex that I never put it together. until about 2 years later, and I already had a handheld gimbal, so I spent 3,000 quid on the thing, which and by the time I did put it together, I think, well, okay, I actually need it for this corporate job. It didn't work. Literally £3,000 for a Pelican case, and I just literally just tossed it.
Did you have the old glide cams before gimbals?
I had a fake. What do they call it? I had a fake kind of glide cam. It was you had the Steadicam type, which was super small.
They were shit. They were.
Yeah, and you had some reasonably okay sort of. It's kind of like a compromise between the glide cam and it was just all in post. I'd be like straightening horizons to just like keyframing horizon straightening because
would always be just slightly like that, wouldn't they? I used to think, oh, look at that! It's so cinematic. It's just like you watch it back now. It's like you're on a boat.
Yeah, it's editorial. That's what it is. Slanted frames survive.
It's
called art. Okay,
it's crazy to think that when we were starting, there was no such thing as an electronic gimbal, that they did not exist. These things, which don't seem that complicated in terms of the technology, isn't like space age. Until about 2015, 2016 or something. Like you were literally on a glide cam.
It was the Movi, wasn't it? That was the first one. I remember seeing the first video of this thing, and I was thinking, "Oh my god, this thing is going to change the world." Yeah. But they were dear. Weren't they about 10 grand when they first came out?
And there was two ones. There was the cheap one, which was about 10 grand, I think, and then the expensive one, which was 15. And they were massive as well, like with the steering wheel kind of attachment, I think.
Yeah, of course, Real Vision bought one straight away.
Yeah, well, they probably got their money back, but the Be Steady purchase just literally it's my worst purchase ever. £3,000, and I just threw it away without using it.
What do you think, Joss? Have you got any more questions, or should we go on to?
No, I think we've covered quite a bit. I'm really happy with that. Yeah, let's move to that.
Right, I'm almost dreading this. So just remind us, it was the story about the bullets.
Bullets on the Plane. That's a good movie title, actually.
Yeah.
Domain name selling to Microsoft, and I was the idea behind a PlayStation 2 video game.
Jesus Christ.
This is really hard.
Is it my turn to guess first?
Yeah.
Right. I haven't got anything, so I'm just going to go with the middle one. Is a lie. The Microsoft.
Okay.
The Microsoft one. It's a really good one, though. I will go with the video game, like the PlayStation 2 idea.
Okay.
As the lie.
Okay. So
I can tell by his face we've both got it wrong.
No, Jeff got it right. So
again. I'm so jammy at this game.
Every time. Yeah, you're very good at this game.
We're
just going to switch it up.
I do have msgames.com, and I was approached for someone to buy it. It wasn't Microsoft. And they did offer me 1,500 quid. And I did approach a lawyer in California, and it was no win, no fee, and there was no win, and there was no fee. So it was like, it never happened. They fucked off.
So it's almost true.
I mean,
Very clever.
I don't know how to invent a purely fictitious thing. Yeah. Maybe you're supposed to. Maybe I was breaking the spirit, but...
No, that's very clever, That's very clever. I can't believe I got it.
The Great Escape, they lost millions on that game. They spent millions on the license.
And that was your idea.
Yeah. So I was responsible for them.
Remind me, Rob, not to ask you for any business advice, please, after this.
Yes.
Well, look, Rob, thank you so much for joining us on the pod, and we look forward to seeing you next year at the festival.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely.
Great to catch
can't
up,
wait.
Mate.
I'll get my tickets to London immediately. I'll get those train tickets booked. Great to see you again, and great to meet you, Joss. Take care, guys.